On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. A war game that took place on the 25th of December, i.e. Trenton, American War of Independence. But you say, you don't have any American War of Independence figures. So true. That's not the point. The point is, I've used a sketch map of Trenton at the time, and I've used a rough scaled representation of the numbers of men to make it into a 28mm skirmish that I can play on my dinner table after the Christmas dinner's been cleared away. So it's about 4 foot square when I put my chipboard on it. And I've used Dark Ages because I've got Dark Age buildings, I've got Dark Age houses, and that worked fine. I've set the board up, I've named everything as it was during the War of Independence for a bit of clarity. The defenders of the village are in effect are the Hessians. The attacking forces are in effect George Washington, although they do look suspiciously like Celts, Picts, and raiders from the sea. Well, that were clear as mud. What I've done is organise the board into a map. It's 3x4, this board, and I'm using 28mm Dark Ages figures. And I've named the historical names of the places from the American War of Independence. So this is Simpink Creek, and it had a bridge over it, and it was the line of retreat for the British. So that's what we can see there. I've deployed historically, so I've got one unit of the Dark Ages defenders who would have been the British, and they're scattered about the villages, the buildings, the lanes, without any particular assignment. Then I've got one unit that historically we know where it was. Coming down the road, you can see the first of Washington's army, which is Green's column. And they're coming from the place where Washington actually crossed the Delaware. And Washington himself is with a reserve unit. I've also given them, to represent the cannon that the British had and that the Americans had, I've given each a hero. So the Dark Age figures who were making the attack, who would have been the Americans, they've got a berserk. So this is my representation of St Mary's Church in Dark Ages form. So we're using a sketch map of Trenton. This first building on the left is Hunter's Tavern, and the troops coming down the road would have been American in the War of Independence. That would be Sullivan's column, and they're coming down the King's Road. And here we can see the orchard, and we can see the various dispositions of troops. And I'll just give you a sort of general view of this Iron-Age Dark Age village, which is taken from a sketch map and interpreted from a genuine map of Trenton at the time of the battle. I've only got a few troops on each side. I've got one elite group of warriors. I'd probably play this using Dragon Rampant, I think. I've got two groups of warriors for the troops that represent the attack, which was the Americans, and I've got command. And then for the Dark Age troops that represent the British, they've got an elite unit, and they've still got a hero, same as the other side have got a berserk. But instead of having 3 units of warriors, they've got 2 units of warriors and one group of levy, to make them a little bit weaker because they're in a slightly better position being in the village. Now, the point I'm trying to make, I suppose, is you could play this game with 40k, Napoleonic, Marlborough, English Civil War, World War One. The point is, you've got to have a village. I like to model mine on the real place because it gives you the same strategic decisions that the real people had to make. But it doesn't have to be. The idea on this attack is it's a surprise attack. You could think about the weather, the ground conditions, maybe sort of visibility, because it's early morning. The drunken confusion of the defenders could be a random factor. And by writing those in, you are getting the feel of the Battle of Trenton. And I think that's fun, and it happened on the first day of Christmas. Ta-ra, Chuck!